Live. Good morning, everyone. Oh, 2 concurrent viewers already. Check that out. Hope you're all enjoying your coffee. So I'm set up in the dining room right now, and right now it's the quietest place I can manage. So the thing about last night, or the end of yesterday's stream, for some reason it cut out, but I ended up falling through the porch. So how fun is that? All right. So yeah, looks like everything is shared around, so that's always cool. That's always good. See, last night also, I ended up making a loaf of bread. This little doobly-doo right here. Unfortunately, I mean, the texture of it and how hard and soft and stuff it is turned out perfect. But for some reason, I just couldn't get the yeast to bloom the right way, and I never got the rise out of the dough that I wanted. So it's a little bit shorter than I would have preferred, but I'm sure it'll taste fine just the same. Ooh, let's see. Good morning, Michaela, and good morning, Eileen. Yeah, the deck was slightly rotten from underneath, but you couldn't tell that from the surface. And I leaned back in the chair for whatever reason. The OBS or YouTube or whatever cut out at the most unfortunate of times, because that would have been hilarious to be able to see my expression. What are you gonna do? But yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. Didn't sleep worth a damn last night because my back and head are just screaming, and I'm pretty sure that was the main contributor. I am peeved that I don't get to see my face on that one though. Oh well. Some good news: all my stuff from Weaver Leather and Buckle Guy shipped yesterday, as well as a shipment of some exotic wood for a little magic card box that I did, or that I sold sold somebody. So I'm super stoked about that. I'm getting some actual nice leather. Looks like it's gonna have like a burnishable surface, so that'll be fun to play with. I'm getting a marble slab, like a poundo board. I'm getting some stitching tines, and I'm getting some Ted's tape. So that's going to be fun to work with. I can actually start making like legitimate projects now. So I'm super stoked about that. Not exactly sure what I'm going to be making for this Saturday yet. Might be doing a card wallet if that stuff all comes in time. What's burnished leather? Burnished leather it has like a waxy surface to it. So when you burnish it, it actually removes some of that wax and changes the color to what is dyed. I just got a small cowhide, so it wasn't too expensive. I'm going to be able to play with it some. So we're going to see. We're going to see what we can do with it, because most better leathers and stuff are obviously more expensive. So this one was only $50 for a hide. So from there I can, expand my repertoire a little bit, and I'm not going to use all of it on one project. It's like 8 or 12 square feet or something like that. So that should be, pretty good. We should be able to get a couple wallets and stuff out of that, maybe a couple coasters. Yes. If you get like a veg tan or whatever, you can dye it from there, and you can dye it pretty much any color you want. Sometimes you can do multiple dyes to get like a stepped effect in the coloration across the hide. The burnishing is only to leather that has already been dyed and then waxed. And then you need to, when you cut the leather, you're supposed to burnish the edges as well. just to give them that, you know, nice round slick kind of look. And a lot of people call that slicking, a lot of people call that burnishing. It doesn't really matter. You really can't do it with chrome leather, but any sort of veg tan or oil tan you can. Not sure about brain tanned. I'll have to look into that one. I've never brain tanned a leather either. I've done chrome tan before, but I did it in a way that it was actually, no, I did alum tanning. When I was younger, I got a deer hide, and I actually made a horrible mistake with it. I didn't understand and research some of the terms. So as I went through, I'll talk about brain tan in a second. As I went through and did the whole tanning process, you're supposed to flesh it. I didn't know what that meant. Apparently that's removing all of the fat and the extra meat and stuff from the skin, because that won't tan. Well, I made all the neighbors pretty pissy with us, because the leather itself tanned beautifully, but everything else just rotted, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But I came out with a super thick leather, stupid tough, and I actually made some soles for some boots I made. Went fantastic. Now, brain tanning is an interesting process, because you actually take the skin and stretch it and dry it, and that's how and then all the stuff starts. Oh, you stinky, yeah. All the stuff starts kind of falling off. That's not the skin, and it's easy to flesh that way. And then you take the brain of the animal, and you actually break it up and boil it, and that has a lot of tannins and stuff in it, which and also a lot of other different compounds. And then you take that skin and you slowly start soaking it in that boiled hot brain broth, and letting it propagate through the hide, and you kind of boil it and soak it in that. And you dig a deep pit, and it's basically a bark fire with a little teepee over it, and you hang the hide around that teepee and let the smoke come through and finish. And you wind up with a super, super tough but so supple leather. It is fantastic. So if you haven't guessed yet, we already have tainted meat. Yeah. If you haven't guessed yet, we have a few people in the chat. So let's hop over to the chat screen and get this show a-rolling. So right now we have Michaela, Gillette, and Eileen Braden in with us. So yeah, that was a huge mistake I made on the first hide I ever tanned, but it did turn out super tough and super durable. It was perfect for shoe soles. And once we have some property, I'd actually like to tan some leather on a regular basis if possible. God, I love that sawing sound. Good. I thought that was really cool. I tried forever when I was doing that intro, because I use that on my regular YouTube videos as well as like the splash between the intro and the the body of the video. That's actually a bone saw, or a bone saw sound effect. I just couldn't find a good saw sound that was good on the ears. That one sounded the best. A little tidbit for you. YouTube has a very extensive and strange library of sounds. They have a lot of good free music and stuff, but some of their sounds are just bizarre. If you ever get into creating content, you'll figure that out rather quickly. And some of their things are very backwards and a little antiquated. I got a text message from the sister-in-law about chittens. Little kitty cats. Bonesaw, excuse me? Well, excuse you what, Michaela? Let's see. Bit rate is a little slow. Happens. Hope it's coming through good on your end at least. So there's 4 people in here watching concurrently. Right now we're just talking with Eileen and Michaela. So guys, hop in the chat. It's a lot more fun when people interact. Actually, get stuff to talk about. Oh, as to this weekend, I'm thinking about doing some maybe a card holder or something. Why are people sawing bones in YouTube? Well, it's just a sound effect. But I can see a lot of instances just off the top of my head where there would be a need for that. You know, you got a horror film or something, you're doing a little scary clip. Someone sawing a bone could be pretty creepy. It's a good sound effect to have in, you know, multiple different instances. That's just one that pops to the head. Is horror. Obviously it works for me, and I don't do anything of the like. What else could you use it for? No, really, any type of sawing thing, it's good. It's really just a hand sawing sound. That makes sense. So what is everyone's plans for the day? Oh, speaking of the apartment and stuff, on plans, we actually got a call from the landlord yesterday, and things are starting to move a lot slower than I would have enjoyed. So hopefully that means, speaking of sawing, I don't know if you can hear that downstairs, but my dad's installing some lights in the basement. And he's sawing through some drywall right now. Mick, you're gonna be doing laundry. Yeah, well, happens. But yeah, so things are working there. It's just slower than I would have liked. So hopefully by next week I'll be back in my actual normal studio at my desk, because this hopping, you know, left, right, and center thing is kind of difficult. And I like my normal setup. You can't hear it. Well, that's good to know. Craft room stuff and teaching Rich to make banana bread. Ooh, banana bread. Are you gonna put nuts in it? What else? I'm gonna actually run up to the apartment today and grab my Xbox. Apparently, my brother got a few like party games and stuff that he wants to play with us, which is gonna be really cool. He got us Ticket to Ride and Monopoly, and then a couple different walnuts and chocolate chips. Ooh, aren't you gonna be fancy? He got us Ticket to Ride, which, if you don't know, I am a huge board game fan. I am absolutely buck nutty about board games, and Ticket to Ride is one of my favorites. So that'll be cool to be able to play that and stuff. And like I said in the beginning, I didn't sleep well, so Ticket to Ride is going to be a lot of fun. What else? Oh, also, we'll have access to our Disney Plus account again, which we're a few weeks behind on Clone Wars Season 7, which I know, nerd, but there you go. So I plan on doing all that today, and hopefully getting on some more editing for my YouTube stuff. There's the I Wish I Knew, or the Wish I Knew segments, or I Wish I Knew, I forget what I'm calling it now. I shot one with Mike. I have all those edited and uploaded now. And now I need to do the ones with my brother. I should be able to get 10 or 12 videos out of that in a day, and get all that scheduled and stuff. So that'll be good. And what else is there? Yeah, so either today or tomorrow I want to get all that edited, and then I have another 5 or 6 project videos in the works. Mostly I just need to edit. Craig L. Jardine. Good morning. Good morning, Craig. How are we doing today? Having a cup of coffee? What else? Also, I need to make a few face masks. I do have a design that I think will be a little bit more comfortable, especially with a beard, than the standard stock and barrel you're seeing. Gold Scar, hi. Did you post I wish I knew yesterday? Those are coming up every other week. And I want to cycle between people I go through. So I think one came up last Monday, so I didn't post one today, and another one's coming up next Monday. So far it's just Mike and Ryan, because that's all I interviewed before this whole quarantine thing came down. I wish I had thought ahead a wee bit more and did a few philosophy videos, did a few wish I knew with several different people, but I just didn't think that far ahead. But no, you didn't miss any. All of Mike's stuff is already scheduled, so I just need to get in there and interlace it with my brother's, and then hopefully I can change some of those dates going in the future as I get more people interviewed. I'm not sure if interviewing them on something like this would be a good idea or what. I still need to figure out how to do those tele interviews, because I still need to have a philosophy video with Mike and the Airborne Surfer on a couple different topics, and I still haven't figured out how to get 2 or 3 people on like a conference call type thing and record it. So that might be a project for this week as well. And if that's the case, maybe I could start interviewing people now, provided they have the right software and the right means to set themselves up with some sort of a microphone and some sort of a decent webcam. So Craig, how are you today? Where are you from? This is the first time I'm seeing your name on the show, so tell everyone about yourself a wee bit, and welcome for joining. And good morning, Joey. How we doing? Did you get woken up rather abruptly? Yeah, it looks like we lost Craig. Been awake since 12 p.m. Is everything all right, Joey? That sounds like a rough night. What else can we talk about here? insomnia. It's fun. I also have a doctor's appointment later, so I'll sleep after that. All right. Yeah, every now and then I have to deal with insomnia myself. It's a pain in the ass. What's a video you're excited to publish? Well, I'm excited to publish the crib build video for my son, but there is so much raw footage for me to go through. I still have to get everything off the off my GoPro, and then I might have to break that up into 2 videos actually. But it is hands down the best woodworking piece I've made to date. It's like really nice, solid red oak. Very happy with how it turned out. But yeah, I'm excited for how that turned out. And I still need to do an intro outro for that, so that might have to wait until after we get back in the apartment, so I can get that cleaned and shoot that. But I'm most excited for that. Really, it's got to be really cool. Because I also did a bunch of different crazy angles and stuff, and it was one of those pieces where, while it's my best and I put in the most intensive thought into it, I still try out so many new techniques and ideas that that whole project was a complete bear. But I think it turned out rather well. I've been here dry. Busy day again. Well, you think, with as excitable as your Monday was, your Tuesday would be a wee bit easier. Like, don't people understand that, everything's kind of on lockdown, so the whole shredding thing should kind of slow down? If you're not open, you're not producing more paperwork once everyone gets caught up. What was my favorite part of the crib build? Well, there's 2 parts I can say that were my favorite. The first one was, happened kind of towards the end of the video, where I did the first dry fit, and I noticed a problem with the legs and the top of the top rail, because you can't have more than a 1/8 inch projection. Otherwise, it's a choking hazard for the kid, or a strangulation hazard, because they can get something caught up on it. And so I did this cool little detail around the legs where they intersected the top rail, and I stepped back and I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, that is so cool. And that's such a nice little detail that people think is kind of cool, but they'll never understand why unless they look through all the regulations and stuff and blah 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 blah. I thought it was really cool. And then my second part was when I installed it in the bedroom, and all the boxes kind of laid in there, and they were already upholstered, and the bed fit in there perfectly. And that first night we put Connor in there, and he just fell asleep, and it was nice. What was my favorite part of the crib build video? Answered that. And how is it different from other builds? Well, most of my other builds are almost exclusively either plywood or 2x material. This, I had to mill almost every piece from scratch, even though I bought a bunch of stock lumber from Lowe's, and that ended up costing me a lot of money. I had to mill most of it down one way or the other. I used a router on most of the project. I custom made all the different slats. Had to have so many things meet up and match up in so many different ways. It was bigger, it was more involved, and there was a life safety aspect to this. Whereas most of like my coffee tables or chairs or like TV stands that I've built, drying racks, desks, most of that is just plywood and 2x material. So it's kind of a stock and barrel type mental process. Whereas when you have to mill things and do all this stuff, it makes it a lot more difficult, a lot more rewarding, but it also changes how you have to think about the material in a completely different way. And it was all made in a nice high quality wood. Like I said, most of my stuff is usually 2x4 and plywood. So doing it all out of a solid hardwood was just fundamentally different from the start. Let's see. Well, now it's a party. Yes, it is, Joey. Hey, y'all. Can't have audio today. Sorry I missed yesterday. Yeah, that's okay. Listen, Laura, things happen. You're working. That's as much as needs to be said. We can't expect you to be here when you're at working. I do appreciate those days that you are able to tune in. Eileen, I love that feeling when you build, the feeling when your build or craft brings happiness. I know. It's such an existential pleasure that I don't think a lot of people get. But the ability to bring that joy, that happiness, that ease of life to somebody else is fantastic. And whether it's building something or crafting something or playing a piece of music. One of my favorite memories in the recent past that has to do with something like that was actually doing the farewell concert for my old middle school teacher, Miss Searfoss. And I actually did a Manliest Monday about that 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. I think it was 2 years ago. And we actually got on the news for it. What ended up happening was Koval, the high school music teacher, reached out to all of the alumni in the orchestra, and we all secretly practiced for a couple months by ourselves or through, like Skype or whatever, or in 2s or 3s. And then, like, we never practiced as a big cohesive group. So her last concert of the year, we all set up outside of the concert in the middle school. So it's like the old cafeteria. And when she got out, we just played, and it was fantastic. She burst into tears, but wow, that was really amazing. Michaela, do you feel more confident doing more complicated furniture pieces now? Yes. I definitely do. Oh, hey Brianna, how you doing? I definitely feel a lot more confident doing more complicated pieces now. There are several things that I wasn't sure about or sure how to do or process in my head before doing the crib. Now I have those a lot of those skills and those techniques, and I know how to build some certain jigs that I need. So that does definitely help things out a lot more than I was able, now that I'm able to do that. And I also have more tools that are more specialized that, make certain things a lot easier. Brian, I was able to get through on the Fine Wine and Good Spirits website. Well, congratulations. I know that was eating you out in the worst of ways. Michaela, what is your favorite music to play on the cello? Fun music. I'd say some of my favorite pieces were from fantasy films. So, like the Idols of Pegasus. There's one part in there that is just, it's a pizzicato part for the cello, and it is just so much fun. It's like an absolute flight of fancy for me, and it's just fun. But then there's also the Pirates of the Caribbean, which that's just great. And then of course there's John Wayne's John Williams Trilogy Suite, which is Jurassic Park, Star Wars theme, and Raiders of the Lost Ark theme, which just, yeah, so much fun. And then not just for that, but when we went to playing in a proper orchestra when I went to high school, Harry Potter, all that music is just so much fun. And then when you're sitting in that and you're hearing all the different pieces, come together, especially as a cellist, you're pretty central to the whole thing, so you could hear a lot, whereas other sections might not, which was pretty cool. So you get to hear it all coming together all at the same time. So fun. Let's see, Joey, you've been craving a drink yourself. Yeah, well, drinks are good every now and then. You're able to get Bailey's and Malibu. Congratulations, Brianna. And Gold Scar. Wait, you played cello? I still do. But yeah, I became a cellist in middle school. I had to pick an instrument, and that one just seemed like the best. It had a rich sound. I was able to sit down. It was easy on my hands. It didn't seem snotty or snooty. So I picked the cello, and I just fell in love with it. And there's so many great songs you can play. I actually want to learn, because it's almost exclusively cello, the Rains of Castamere. I know the lyrics. I sing them to my child all the time, but it's almost exclusively a cello piece. So I think it'd be really cool to be able to sit there in the nursery and play it out for him nice and slow with those deep melodies, and just sing it to him, and just watch his face just light up. But yeah, so that's yeah, I play the cello and I really enjoy it. And thank you for that compliment, Breen. I appreciate it. Would I ever consider building a cello? I don't know about that. There's something very specialized and kind of taboo about just building a classical instrument. I could, but I don't think I would ever get it right. I would build, project guitars or something, like a cigar box guitar or a ukulele, or like an electric guitar. But I don't know if I would ever build a cello. I do have a design for a cello stand, which doesn't put any pressure on the neck of the cello, which I believe is a very good asset to have, because almost every other design I've seen puts a lot of pressure on the neck, and that could damage the cello over time. So I do have that, and I think I'm going to come out with that at some point in the near future, for everyone to see and consider. There might be a grainy image of that on the Knightsmith group from years and years ago, but I'm not sure. But I don't think I'll ever build a cello. That's an interesting question, though. I don't think it's a whole lot of things I wouldn't consider building, but that's one of them. Ooh, I'm almost out of coffee. Oh, it's 9:30. Look at that. It's been a good day running already. Thank you. It's my wife running to get me another cup. I don't know why, but my eye's feeling buggy. Nothing wrong with it. It's not red or anything. Oh boy. Yeah, but maybe maybe I'll get on here and play one of these days. I don't know. Actually, one thing that I would really like. What a good wife. She really is. One thing I would like. I don't think Luke is in here. He was on here sometime last week. Popping in to say hello. And he plugged his one band or whatever that he does down in Philly. He's a cellist as well, Luke Shefsky. Really, really talented guy. Good friend of mine too. I'd actually like to have him up. And maybe we could do like a duet or something. And the one lady who pops on here every now and then, Jill, she's a violinist. She's just getting back into it after years of not touching it. So I'd like to get on it and do a couple duets with her as well. I think that could be really fun. Maybe we could do a couple different fantasy pieces or something, and have some fun with it. I'm sure there's a few really interesting duets that are out there that I would love to dig into with some friends. Maybe we can even do a duel. Film a duel and then like choreograph it to a music piece, and we could play the music and do the duel, and then kind of mesh and work them together. I think that would be a lot of fun. She's heavy into the SCA and stuff, and a lot of fun to be had there. Oh, that's hot. Nylene, why is there a question after that? Question mark after that? Of course, she's a good wife. She might be a pain in the ass, but she's a good wife. What famous musician or composer would I like to go back in time and watch a performance? Well, I mean, there's all the classical greats. Is there a famous performance you would like to see? Actually, one that I would love to see is the what was it? They actually showed a little bit of it, and that was kind of the culmination of Bohemian Rhapsody. I would love to see that in person. I think that's just the coolest thing ever, and I'm pretty upset that with all the technology and everything that we have today, that artists don't do that now. So what famous musician, composer would I like to go back and see? I mean, there's all the greats. Bach, Beethoven, Schubert. There's a million of them. But I think the one I would like to see most is the first time they got together and played the Star Wars. The first performance of Star Wars. Right there in this, just sitting there in the studio, just watching John Williams there with all of the, the orchestra and the band and stuff there, and just watch them play that. I think that would be really, really cool. I know I'm such a nerd, but I love it. And I'm completely unabashed about it. I really do have to say that John Williams is one of my favorite composers. And I'm so happy that I was able to be alive at the same time he is, or was. And here I'm just coming out with music after, piece after piece after piece. I heard about a violinist from Europe, France maybe, who played into a rumor that he traded his soul to the devil for a violin and would dance and act possessed for lulz. I've never heard of that, but I need to look into that because that sounds hilarious. And kind of stupid. Depending on what time frame in Europe he was in, that could be a really dumb idea. But I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I think that sounds like a topic for like a Today I Found Out video with what's his face, the bald Brit. I can't remember his name, but I think he'd be able to do that video a little bit more justice than I can. Ooh, and I just got a text message from Eileen. Look what just came in. And of course, my video is playing in the background. It is the leather piercer. Take a quicker look at this. So it doesn't actually punch holes. It just kind of pierces it to a different degree with that tapered mandrel. Is that correct? And then you have that anvil with different sizes as I guess a stop, or does it actually cut holes? I guess it would cut holes in a manner just by sheer force against that anvil. I'm very curious as to how does that work. It does punch a hole. Interesting. By the way, the picture she sent me was this thing. Oop. I've never seen a hole punch quite like that. I've never seen a hole punch quite like that for leather. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. So I'm very curious now, Eileen. You're going to have to punch a few test pieces, and send me a picture. That very interesting. Let's see, Lara. Over 20 calls in queue all morning. Anyone want to send me some hard ice cream for my coffee? I would love to if I could. Cool thing, and this is what my sister was talking about. Sister and Michaela were talking about earlier. The liquor stores are open again. I believe you have to call in your order and then drive and grab it. But they're open again. So you might not be able to get it today, but tomorrow you can. I'll test it out later and let you know. Awesome. I am super excited to see how that is. I'm very curious. And I cannot wait for my stuff to finally come in. Because I'll also be able to use the original hole punches as well. I'll start using those again as well, which will be very good because I'm also getting like a rubber mallet for leather working, because so far I've been using just a steel mallet and that kills my ears. It also mushrooms out the back of my tool, which is definitely not appreciated. But yeah, I've always done things that had regular hole punches, so I've never seen anything like what you got. So I am so curious. I think I'm gonna grab my glasses today too. Should put that on the list of things to grab from the apartment. I think my eyes are getting a little buggy from wearing contacts for too long. Getting all these notifications, and oh wow, there's 7 people in here. Look at that. That is cool. I can't wait for my stuff to come in. I am so excited. It's supposed to be here Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, I believe, is the stuff I'm getting from Weaver, which is awesome. But I got a 12 by 24 poundo board, which I think I'm going to cut that in half because the marble slab I got was 12 by 12. And this way I could put the a poundo board down, which is kind of like a heavy duty rubber mat. And then I could put the marble slab on top of that to kind of deaden the noise. And then when I'm cutting and stuff, I could just take the other one and throw it on top of there. I think. Not sure. Ooh, you sent me another picture. Was that one of the, did you just do that, Eileen, with your thing? Because that looks like a very fine hole that you were able to produce. Jay says, hi, Uncle Chris. He's watching with me. Awesome. Hey, Jacoby. How you doing today, buddy? I haven't seen your salamander that you caught yesterday, but I'm pretty sure he's doing just fine. Eileen Braden, yes. Wow. Okay, guys, I need to show you this one. So apparently, well, I can't do this. So that's the hole she was able to produce with that thing. So apparently it punches a nice clean hole. And that is a much finer hole that I'm able to produce. Do you know what size that is? Because I think the smallest I can produce right now is 5/64 or about 2 millimeters. And that looks significantly smaller, finer hole. Thumbs up. Awesome. One thing about the weather this morning, with the breeze and kind of that charge in the air, it kind of felt like I was back on the beach. Now I can't wait for my cricket knife so I can cut more leather. That is so cool, Eileen. But yeah, it was just such a strange feeling. Like I felt like I was back down in one of the beaches, just sitting on the beach waiting for a storm to come in, and we also had a storm rolling in, so it was just that right weather and type of it's just that right type of atmosphere and feeling this morning. Made me really miss the beach. I'm gonna have to get down there sometime once all this blows over. Let's see, back to Eileen. It's the largest hole with a 2 millimeter, which is 2 millimeter in the item description. Really? That's the largest? I can't wait to see what the smallest looks like in comparison. That thing's just got to be a little pinprick then. Wish I had it on video. He was running around the house and fell flat on his face. I couldn't help but laugh because I knew he was okay. That's funny. Actually, Eileen, you should bug Rich and bug him enough that the four of us can go take a trip down to the beach for a couple days. Just, like a 3-4 day trip. Nothing terrible. Oh, yeah, I wish you had seen that too. I wish you had gotten that on video as well, because that looks absolutely hilarious. Really? He doesn't seem like a beach guy to me, for some reason. But also after 3 or 4 mimosas, I could also see him inappropriately suntanning on the beach. He loves the beach. Ask him one day about him saving an elderly woman's life at the beach. Okay. I'm gonna have to remember that. That sounds like a rather esoteric question to to try and remember, but I'll do my best because that sounds like one hell of a story. It was like a troll came out and tripped him. That sounds hilarious. Oh boy.
She's got a little bit of a high horse action going.
So I cannot wait for this whole thing to get done, and I cannot wait to. I'm curious about that beach story. Yeah, it sounds like a very fascinating story there, Brianna. And I'm gonna have to bug Rich at some point today to get that piece of information out of him. What else was there today? I don't know what else to talk about. Oh, there is that, but I kind of want to fix it first. I was just playing around with that dice tray that I was going to ship out the other day. I haven't shipped anything out yet because it's still not quite safe enough to go to the go to like the post office and stuff. But I was playing with the dice tray and how does the dice react with and without the dice tray, and very fascinating how much of a difference it makes. Not only is it quieter, but everything just kind of bloop, done. Very cool. Eileen, I promise it's nothing fancy, but he will forever say he saved her life, and he's a lifeguard that can't swim well enough. A wave caught this like 85-year-old woman and threw her into the ocean as she was sitting in the sand. I was the one that saved her from floating away in the ocean. The worst part is all her sons and family just watched her be taken by the wave. Oh, Jesus. Well, there goes Grandma. Bye. Like, is that really what they're... Really? They just watched? How do you just watch? How do you just sit back and watch? I don't understand that about people. With a boogie board. Saved her with a boogie board. Well, congratulations, Rich. You're a hero. No, that actually is really cool. Good job, buddy. Oh, yes, I had the boogie board and they didn't do anything. Straight out of Baywatch. Well, you know, I think we're going to have to pump a few mimosas into you so you can run down the beach like David Hasselhoff. I would pay money to see that. Oh, wow, phone's done charging. Boop. I don't know why I make sound effects for stupid shit. He likes margaritas. In the morning, though, that you start margaritas at lunch. You don't need drinks for that. Yeah, I remember you dancing at your wedding. And then dancing at my wedding. A year later. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. You know, Rich, sometimes you're just absolutely ridiculous, buddy. You know, I'm glad there's so many people in here talking this morning. It's a lot of fun. Striptease happened at your wedding. Yes, it did. And that really, oh, I know you were 100% sober at your wedding. You were just high on life, and that was hilarious. The striptease at my wedding was interesting. That was one of the funniest things, and I think even there you were sober. Just you're absolutely ridiculous, Rich, and I love you, buddy. Margarita time equals anytime during quarantine. Yeah. I do have to say, my alcohol consumption has jumped up considerably now that I've, during this whole lockdown thing. Brianna, well, I'm going to go have about 5 loads of laundry to fold and think about moving around some furniture. Well, have Jacoby fold them. Nothing can go bad there, right? Thank you so much for tuning in, Brianna. I appreciate it. You have yourself a fantastic day. I was sober. You weren't acting it. I've never seen you pull moves like those 2 nights out before, and it was awesome. Ooh, look at that! My little buddy's awake. Want to say hi to people? Hey, Connor. See that? That's you. Straight for the beard. Every time. I don't really even feel it when he's grabbing my beard, but when he pulls on my mustache, holy hell. And sometimes he hangs off me like King Kong. Like he'll stand up and just grab my beard and just lean back and start looking around. Like, dude, if I had a drone right now, we could have some fun. Speaking of which, I'm looking at getting a drone in the near future. There's one, I need to find out the name of it, because they were he was one of the manufacturers of like the Phantom or something, and they ended up kicking him out, and he has a chew this. So he's selling for like $100. They're smaller than the Phantom, but they still have like most of the same features, like the follow me and the pathing and stuff, and they shoot in like 1080p or 4K. But they're these tiny things. So I really want to get one of those, and they're like $100 or like $120. I mean, that's not something I would use for this. I use one of those like $20 drones. You know, they're like that big quadcopter type thing. He's a little heartbreaker, isn't he? Yeah, he's a cutie. He just woke up from his nap. Whoop. And he's gonna try and eat the microphone. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, guys, I've been in here for an hour. Let's do that. There we go. So I think I'm gonna get rolling here in a minute. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk to you about today. I know one high school buddy of mine, Joseph D, was gonna pop in and say hello this morning, but I don't think he ever did, unfortunately. And he wants to do like something with local creators and stuff, and support them and do this whole thing. And I've been thinking for a while about getting like an unofficial YouTube community going here. In Northeast PA, because otherwise there's oh, he's fine, that's fine down there. He wasn't gonna go about that. Some sort of I'm not exactly sure what I want to call it. Not a guild or a collective or something, but just a group where we can all kind of support each other and help each other and riff off each other and try and do some collaborations and get some stuff together. Because there are no major cities around us. The closest space is up in New York, and there's a few things I'd like to get going on here. Maybe some way to collaborate with gear or share information or do something and get some sort of a good system going for, beneficial for everyone. I was going to try and talk to him about that a little bit today, if he was able to pop on, but I guess he either forgot or got busy or whatever. So I'm going to hit him on Facebook after this, because I think if we could get, even if it's just 40 or 50 people in the outlying areas together, something really cool could be made to happen. Yeah. All right, so that's over an hour. I think that's all of my thoughts. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Huge shout out to my patrons who help bring content like this to you every day while we're in quarantine, and they help so much. Help support this guy and buy him new clothes and chew toys and stuff. Oh boy. So guys, yep, see, he says thank you too. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I'll see you tomorrow. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And thank you for helping make this world better, one kerf at a time. And I'll see you all later.